everybody. I'm here on my iPad Pro 12.9 inch, and I'm going to show you today how to use the Tonal Energy Metronome and how to program the Tonal Energy Metronome. So the first thing I'm going to do is to look around and find the Tonal Energy app, which is right here. Press that. It'll open up. It's opening up to my metronome right now. Sometimes it opens up to something else. If it opens up to, let's say, the tuner, then I'm going to go down on the bottom where it says metronome and click on that, and I'll get the metronome. Right now, you'll see that the meter is set to 4/4 time, and the subdivision is on quarter notes, and the tempo is at 72. So those are the three things that we're concerned with at first. So what I can do is I can stay in 4/4 and change the tempo either by pressing the plus sign and going higher, or the minus sign and going lower, or by pressing the 72 and typing in any number that I'd like that. But I'm going to go back to 72 and leave it there. The meter of 4/4 can be changed to anything. You can see in the middle that there are 4 beats per measure. We can listen to that. I can change to 3/4. Like that. I can also play subdivisions. So in addition to the beats, I can play some other things with it. For instance, I can play an 8th note, which will sound like this. I can subdivide in 16th notes. Like that. I'm going to leave that on quarter notes for now. As far as the sounds go, there are many, many ways that you can get different sounds. For instance, I can start off with everything gray, and it sounds like this. There's no sound. But you can see that it lights up for each beat. If I turn one of these on, I get 1 beat, and that's it. If I turn them all on and they're all blue, then they are all the same sound. If I add one more tap on the first beat, then the first beat will have a different sound than the other 2 beats. Or not. If I put an accent on, then the first beat will sound different. Still a lot of things that I need to learn too. If I want the sound to be different, I go down to the bottom and I press this thing that says sound. Right now it's on cowbell 1. That's kind of a general thing to use, but let's just try drum jam rec, whatever that is. I've never heard this. We can listen to it. So as you see, you can fool around and find all these different sounds. So I'm going to change back to the cowbell 1. That'll be my general way of listening to this. The other thing that I can do, which I almost always do, is I'll go back to the sound and scroll all the way to the bottom where it says voice counting, and it says voice only, and then voice and met. If I do the voice only,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
It sounds like that. And generally, I'm going to go and do voice plus metronome. And that'll sound like this.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
You also can make it sound like a male voice.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Personally, I find the female voice to be a better count for me. So I use the cowbell plus the female voice. I can also adjust the voice volume, so very little.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
But generally, I like to hear that female voice a little bit louder than that, so I'll set it almost all the way to the top. This says 3 dBs at there.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That works very well for me. Programming the tonal energy tuner metronome is really not that difficult. So I'm going to show you how to do it right now. I'm going to use the piece called the Walton Viola Concerto Movement 2, but really you can use any piece that you like. So the first thing that I'm going to do is over here on the left side, you can see that there's a little symbol with 4 bars in it, and that's what you need to press to make your preset. So I press that, and you'll see that there's all preset groups, edit current group, edit current preset, or add new preset. I almost always use the all preset groups because that's the easiest to use. The others seem confusing to me. So I'm going to press the all preset groups, and you'll see over here on the left, my preset groups, which is a list of all the pieces that I have preset metronome marks for. In the middle, you'll see that there's a list of what is up right now, and then if there's a count-in or not. Over here you can see that there is not a count-in, and then a list of all the different tempos that are going to be played by the metronome. And on the right are all my options: time signatures, tempos, what's going on in the beats, etc. So I'm going to create a new preset by going to the bottom left and clicking the plus sign all the way on the far bottom left. You'll see here that it says new group in blue highlighted. And that's what I'm going to be working with, the new group. You'll also see in the middle that it says new group. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to click in that box, and you'll see that the keyboard comes up. Click the X in the group that says new group, so I'm blank, and then name this preset. So I'm going to name this Walton, W-A-L, T-O-N, second, and then M-V-T, second movement. Then I'm going to hit the return button. I spelled that wrong. I'll show you how to fix that. But if you see on the left side here where it says my preset groups, now I have a check mark next to Walton second Met. So I'm going to go click back in that box, delete a couple of times and change it to MVT and hit return. And there you go. Okay, the first thing, do I want to count in? Yes, I definitely want to count in because when I press the metronome to start and I'm using a preset, it's going to start on measure 1, and if I don't have a count in, then I'm going to get off. So I'm going to set the count in here since it's fast and in 2/4. I'm going to set that to 8 measures, but usually I use 4 measures. In order to do that, I turn the count in on by toggling this switch right here. And then I go to the eye, the little blue eye, and click that. And that gives me my count-in options. And you'll see the third thing down there says duration, 4 bars. I'm going to hit the plus sign until it says 8 bars. And you can see down on the bottom, the other things, optional beats, counting voice is female, I like that. The voice volume is good. Allows subdivision sounds. I'm not going to use that. Use bar counts. I'm not going to use that. Generally, those are the only things I use. Here it's on the bottom, you can have the voice count beats and the metronome beats. That would be with the metronome. That would be without it. I usually just use the voice count beats to count me in, just like it's done here. But the main thing that I change here is the duration. So I'm going to give me 8 bars to start. Going back to group this Walton's second movement. So you'll see under the count-in that there's a little accent. I usually turn that on for whatever reason. So I have that green, and on the right side it's green. And now I go to number 1. So number 1 is the first thing that the metronome's going to play. And you'll see that the beginning of this piece is in 2/4. So I'm going to go over to the right side and change what number 1 is. So I'm going to hit the meter where it says 4/4 and change that to 2/4, just like that. How many bars are there? I have to count the bars until the next change. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 measures there. So I hit the plus sign until I get to 9, or I can click where it says 9 and type in the number 9 and hit done. You'll notice that the first measure is a rest. So I'm just going to add that in there. The next thing that I'm going to do is to go to used tempo, and I'm going to change the tempo by clicking in the box and write the tempo of 144. Done. That's very fast, but I'm going to put the tempo that it says in the piece, and then I can change it later if I like. And I'll show you how to do that. Use metronome beats is good, but I also use the voice count. So I'm going to open the voice count over there, and you'll see that when you turn the voice count on, that they're grayed out, and I'm going to change them to look exactly like the ones that are the metronome beats. And that will work for me. So if you see that in number 1 here in the middle, I have 9 bars in 2/4 at the speed of 144. So the next thing I'm going to do is that there's 1 measure of 3/4. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the middle column and click the plus sign. And then I'm going to go over and change the meter to 3/4. Going down there says right now 9 bars. So I have to change that to 1 bar. So I do that on the bottom, hit the word done. Now number 2 is all set. Now it goes back to 2/4 for 1, 2, 3 measures. So I hit that plus sign in the middle column, and then I'm going to go to 2/4 by scrolling 2/4. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 measures of that. Okay, good. Everything else looks okay. Then I'm going to hit the plus sign again. And now I see 1, 3, 4 bar. So I'm going to add that. 1, 3, 4. You'll see that there's 3 measures there. I'm going to click in there and click a 1. Done. You see there's 2 different ways I can add bars and subtract bars. So I just kind of use either one. You'll see here where it says use voice count that the 3 is grayed out. So I have to touch that and turn that blue. So it looks just like the use metronome beats. And I'm going to check that later when I'm finished. So I just added a 3/4 bar. And now I'm going to add 1, 2, 2, 4 bars. Oops. You see, I forgot to add another program, so I'm going to add that program, and then I'm going to go to 2/4, add a bar there, and then I should be good to go. So now I have everything plugged in from the beginning until measure 17, as you can see on the example. And I'm going to check that everything looks good. So here's number 1, okay, 2. You'll see that the voice count is grayed out, so I'm going to just click that and fix that up. And then number 3 is a 2/4 bar for 3 bars. And then number 4 is also a 2/4 bar for 3 bars. I think that's a mistake. So I'm going to have to fix that. I'll show you how to do that. Well, let's do that now. There's 2 of those same things in a row. So I'm going to hit the edit button on the bottom. and then you'll see a minus sign where I am. I'll hit the minus sign, delete. There you go, done. And then there's a 3/4 bar, and then 2 2/4 bars. So I think that this is right. So now everything looks good to go. Now I'm going to try this out. So I go to the right side, and on the bottom you can see that there's a blue little circle there. That's a loop. That's going to make this program repeat itself over and over again. So I'm going to click that so it doesn't turn on. But right next to that, you'll see a full box going to a empty box, and I'm going to click on that because that's going to activate the program. So when I hit the button for playing, what you're going to see is you're going to hear 8 bars of count in, and you're going to see that where it says metronome in the front, and then it's going to play through my program, and you'll see there's a green status bar on top of the program. So let's give that a try.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
That's it. Perfect. Now I'm going to go back to my main screen by hitting the X in the upper right corner. And now you can see that we're in 2 here. I'm going to press the beginning of my program here where it says 2 4 3 4 2 4 3 4 2 4. Press that. You'll notice that the program is activated. I can turn the loop on or off. Over here on the right I have a purple count in, so that should be on. If it's off, there's no count in, so I turn it back on. This green, I don't really know what it is, but I always leave it on. I have an accent on the bottom, which I like. And you can see the tempo is at 144. And now I'm going to try it over here.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
That's right, perfect. So the big status bar on the top is for the whole program, and each of the little boxes that have its own tempo is going to have its own status bar showing what's playing at the moment. Now going back to the tempo, if I take a viola and I actually play the piece with the metronome, let's see how the tempo feels at the given tempo.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1.
That feels really fast. So I want to slow it down. So I'm going to change the tempo by tapping in the tempo box. And then on the bottom here, you can see a plus and minus sign, and that's good because I can subtract and by percentage figure out what tempo I want to play. So I'm going to go down 20% first because that was really fast. You'll notice when it says apply change to preset, selected range, or group. So I can either go to a selected range or a group. I usually just do the whole thing. And then I'm going to try it out and see how this works. So I'm going to hit done, and now I'm going to try again.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
Okay, that didn't work because I actually started too early. So I think what I'm going to do is to go back to my presets, and I'm going to change this where it says 9 bars on the first one. I'm going to change it to 8 bars and just start off of the first. That will help me more. So I just changed that, and then I can X out. And I'm going to try that again.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
Okay, that works perfectly, and I actually like that tempo. So I can go back to that tempo, and it says 115.2. So I can actually make this adjustment permanent. Let me try that. Confirm, and that'll set me to 0. So I think that's a better idea. So I'm going to use 115.2 as my base. And then when I practice, now I can go here and I can go down 10% for a practice tempo. Done. And start
1
that.
2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
That's good too. You can also practice really slow or really much faster. But I'm going to change it back to 0. Done. And leave it at that. So that about tells you how you can use the metronome in a preset. I'm going to do one more thing and make one more preset and show you how you can move from one tempo to another by using a slowdown into the new tempo, so you can gradually move into a new tempo, because that can be quite handy sometimes. So I'm going to go back to the preset button on the left, go to all wrong one, which is I guess okay, but I'm going to X out of that. I'm going to go to all preset groups, and I'm going to add for a new group and call that retard, R-I-T-A-R-D, return. I can always spell something wrong here, that's funny. Retard, if you do it the second time, it usually sticks. There it is. You can see it says retard on my left side, which is good. And then a count in. I'm not going to use it this time because I'm just showing you how to make a retard. And then here it says 1 bar of 115.2, so I'm going to change the meter here to 4/4, and I'm going to do that for 2 bars, or 3 bars. No, let's do 2 bars. And then I'm going to slow the tempo to 76. And I'm not going to use the voices, I'm just going to use the metronome beats, so that's done. So now I have 2 bars at 4/4. And let's say that I want to go to 3/4, but I want the new tempo to be 52. So I have 2 measures of 76, and we're going to try to go to 3/4. We'll go to 2 bars at 52. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 bar at 52, 3/4, change to 52, done, and add 1 more bar of 52, so I'm looking and it says that there are 2 measures of 52, so I switch that to 1, and 2 measures, and I switch that to 1. So now you'll see that I have 2 measures at 76, and 1 measure at 52, and 1 other at 52. But like I said, I wanted to gradually get into 52 by having a retard. So what I can do is, on the first 52, I'm going to click here where it says fixed, gradual, and relative. I'm going to click where it says gradual. So it's going to slow me down into 52. So let's listen to what this sounds like. You notice I turned the loop off on the bottom left over here, and I have the program on down at the bottom. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that gradually brought me down to 52. And that was exactly what I wanted. So that way when I'm practicing, it can gradually bring me from one tempo to the other. And you can work with that as you choose, but that's basically how that's done. Okay, I hope that this was helpful. There's a lot of things you can do with this metronome. I probably didn't touch on them all, but at least it gives you a good start as to how I usually use this metronome.